Have you ever had that feeling, the one where it seems like you're just moving in slow motion while everyone else is just zipping by on fast forward? Well, if you're a Taurus, that feeling might hit a little too close to home. It brings up this big, frustrating question. Why does it feel like success is always just delayed? Today, we're going to get into that. We're calling it the Taurus paradox. And yeah, that feeling of being left in the dust, it's a real thing. The source material for this whole explainer really nails it with this line. A Taurus watched everyone move ahead quickly. You look around, you see your friends, your coworkers hitting all these huge milestones, and it's almost impossible not to feel like you're falling behind. And that leads us right to the heart of the matter, the big question we're tackling today. But their life moved slowly. Why? Now, it's easy to see that as a bad thing, right? Super frustrating. But what if I told you that this slowness, this thing you think is your biggest weakness, isn't a setback at all? What if it's actually your greatest strength, just in disguise? Okay, so let's really dig into that feeling first. That slow start. Why does it feel like you're being left behind? And what is actually going on under the surface when you move at that deliberate pace? To really get the Taurus mindset, you've got to understand that there are basically two ways to approach life. You've got the sprint, which is all about those quick wins, right? The temporary gains. It looks really impressive from the outside, but a lot of the time, there's no solid foundation there. And then you have the marathon. That's the path of slow, steady, deliberate progress. And that path, it leads to permanent, unshakable results. And that right there is the Taurus way. And this brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer. Building to last. See, it's not about being slow. It's about being deliberate. It's time to completely reframe how we think about this. Think about it like this. Anyone can pitch a tent, right? You get some temporary shelter for the night. But at Taurus, you're not interested in that. You're on the builder's journey. You're not building a tent. You're building a stone fortress that's meant to stand for generations. So your path isn't a delay. It's a very conscious, very thorough process of creating something that is permanent and strong. And this isn't just some vague idea either. It's a real strategy, a plan. Step one isn't even action. It's just to observe and absorb. You're gathering all the information, you're learning the lay of the land before you make a single move. Then, and only then, do you move to step two. You create the blueprint, meticulously planning your path. Step three is probably the most important. You lay a deep, solid, unshakable foundation. And after all that, it's step four, a patient, methodical process of building, brick by brick, making sure every single piece is placed perfectly. So, after all of that patient, careful, meticulous work, what's the reward? What's the ultimate payoff? Aha! This is where the real power of the Taurus approach finally shows itself. Let's talk about it. The first, and maybe the most important reward, is simply stability. And we're not just talking about money in the bank. This is a deep-down emotional, professional, and personal security. It's that kind of inner strength that can handle any storm that comes your way, all because you built your life on solid ground. And then, built right on top of that foundation of stability comes wealth. But we're not talking about the flashy, fleeting kind you get from a lucky break. No, this is something way more valuable. It's accumulated, it's earned, it's lasting prosperity. It's the natural result of all that smart, patient, and deliberate work. It's the treasure you store inside that fortress you built. And finally, we get to what might be the most profound reward of all, peace. This is that quiet, unshakable confidence that comes when you just know your foundation is solid. It's a kind of inner security that you just can't buy or win quickly. It's the feeling of being completely and totally at ease inside the life you so carefully built for yourself. So you see, these three rewards, they're not separate things on a checklist. They're all connected. They build on each other. Lasting stability, that's the bedrock. The accumulated wealth, that's the strong fortress you build on top of it. And that inner peace, that's the amazing feeling of security you get to live with inside the walls you created. But here's the thing, the impact of this journey, it goes way beyond just your own lifetime. What you've so carefully built becomes more than just success. It becomes an enduring legacy, a fortress that's going to stand long, long after you're gone. Look, if there is just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this incredible line from our source material. Taurus builds slowly, but builds forever. So maybe the question was never, why am I moving so slowly? Maybe the real question is, just how indestructible is this thing I'm building going to be?